Okay. Welcome to our animal communication segment with Lorraine Bollinger. If you didn't already, make sure you catch the first episode with her first tip, because it'll just kind of give you more clarity, more information. But if you haven't watched it, don't turn off. Keep watching, and then you can go back and you can watch it later. So yeah, it's all yours now, Lorraine.
Well, thank you, Sharon. It's wonderful to be back. I'm going to share a little more about how I think about animal communication and add on to what I did last time, but maybe I should say something about that I do it intuitively. I work with animals. I read them intuitively. It's all through intuition. They are sentient beings just as we are. And it's a beautiful thing. We actually communicate with them through telepathy without ever knowing about it. And when you consciously try to connect with them, it's really very amazing. It's a wonderful thing. So as an animal communicator, I use telepathy to convey pictures, words, and feelings, which is what I said last time. And whether we realize it or not, those thoughts and pictures are going through our minds constantly. As we're thinking, we are creating images in our mind, and our animals see those images. They feel them, they intuit those images, and they translate that into action items for themselves, I guess you might say. So they're constantly reading and sensing what our feelings and our thoughts are, which is kind of amazing when you think about it.
Yeah.
I think you said you tried a little bit of that with patches.
I did.
And it's really helped.
Yeah, it just makes so much sense using what I do in our joy shops and membership to apply that to my dog. So I have been, like, for instance, she was barking. She's outside right now a few minutes ago. And I went to a place of imagining, instead of joining in with the neighborhood dogs that were barking about something, that she was just laying down still and quiet and just soaking in the beautiful noises and sounds. And she's not barking right now. So
right. I think none of us realized how we affect our animals until someone informs us that that's how it works. I know I certainly didn't know. And
yeah,
that was
it's made us so much more aware. And then also so much more aware of, like, if I'm going to a stressful place, how does that affect her? Yeah, it's interesting because it's a nice reminder as I tap into her to go to that peaceful, still energy.
Well, that's interesting you brought that up, because the first thing I wanted to talk about was how complicated our lives are and how that affects them. That's actually the first item I have on my list here. I don't know if you're looking at it, but
no, I'm not. And I wasn't even sure what that meant, but it's like, well,
okay,
I'll find out from you.
Yes. Well, I said our lives are filled with chaos and a whole assortment of concerns and issues about our world, our relationships with other people, and the environment in which we live. Our fears and concerns are constantly reflected in our thoughts and emotions.
Yeah.
And from our pet's point of view, that must seem very confusing, because their world is a lot smaller. And they don't watch the news or listen to the radio or call up their friends.
Maybe not smaller, but simpler.
Well, yes. Yes. Wouldn't that be nice? Yes. So it must be very confusing to them that we have all this going on in our heads, and they probably wonder why we don't just turn it off and just deal with the here and now and relax a little bit more.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So with all this conflicting information that they get from us, it might help us understand why maybe they react to us in a way we would hope they wouldn't. I will say negatively. Like your normally well-behaved dog can sometimes be naughty out of the clear blue sky. And sometimes it's something we have thought about, or the chaos in our life that is actually affecting them.
Oh, okay. So could I ask a question? Is this a good?
Yes, please do.
Okay. I just think of yesterday when I had a client come, and she got so excited. She likes to jump up onto people, and we're trying to train her to meet people in a still, quiet way where she can get more affection. And how would I go to that place of kind of conveying, maybe when I know a client is coming, I could actually imagine how I would like her to behave, because I know what she wants. She wants to have that love and the attention and acknowledgement, right?
Mhm.
But yet it's not working if she's jumping up on people. But maybe I'm kind of, I mean, like I'll put the leash on her and kind of hold her back like a bucking bronco. How would you guide me?
I would say that I would instruct the people coming in not to respond to her, and say, we're trying to train her, and just let them feel like they're assisting you with this training.
Oh, and she did. The client, she's like, she didn't engage. She didn't reinforce that kind of behavior. And then when for some clients, I guess she just wants to be in there with us, and she'll do this kind of whining energy, whining. And yeah, what would I do then?
I think
I can tell you
my
what I did do that did help some.
yeah, tell me what you did.
But I would love more guidance. I just went out and just kind of reassured her that she couldn't be in the session, but that, I loved her, and to quiet down.
Mhm. Yeah,
Then
because
she went and laid in her she likes her little cage where her crate where she likes
yeah.
to.
So I might give her the job of maybe guarding the door to your office when you're in a session with a client, or giving her that's her job to make sure that everything feels calm in the house.
Oh, interesting.
You can give them jobs, assign them jobs.
She
And,
wants
mhm,
to be supportive and helpful.
mhm.
Um, give her a job.
And that could be her job. Her special job is to make the people who come to see you feel comfortable and at peace and calm. And in order to accomplish that, she has to be at peace and calm.
Yeah.
And she's responded so well to your thought processes recently on the walks. And
Yeah.
then yesterday, I think she's the perfect candidate for that.
Oh, she did. The other day when I let her off for freedom, she chased after some elk,
Uh-oh,
and
bummer.
she didn't come back for about 10 minutes.
Oh no.
Uh,
Oh no. That's part of their,
it's a process.
yeah, yeah. You haven't been at it that long. So I will go on with my notes here. I want to stay attached to my notes a little bit today because I have a lot of thoughts I want to cover.
Okay.
So we've got, we did how our thoughts and concerns are constantly reflected in our thoughts and emotions, and then they read those and how confused they might be. So put yourself in your animal's place. They're constantly trying to adapt to our needs and our emotions constantly, all day. They're constantly reading us, looking at us, how she'll look in your eyes, cock her head, right? Yeah. So they're always trying to come up with, well, what am I supposed to be doing? They're checking with you to see what am I supposed to be doing? How can I please her? That's pretty much what most animals, I believe, they're always wanting to please us. So we just need to make sure that our thoughts are positive and we aren't sending mixed signals and things like that. So one of the things that I find interesting is that animals are very grounding. Have you noticed that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Which is why I said she might have that job when your clients come, of making things calm and peaceful. In other words, grounding the energy in the
And
house.
she's probably picking up, and sometimes when a client comes, it's like they start to maybe think of their issues or their problems, and
Exactly.
they have kind of chaotic energy, and then she could feel that.
Yes, absolutely. That's what she's doing. I feel very sure that's what she's doing.
Oh, this is so interesting and
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah. So I wrote, so this will get me back on track because my thoughts are going so many different ways right now.
Right.
They would love nothing better than to ground you and get a few minutes of undivided attention, bringing you joy and companionship. Maybe ball throwing session or chasing a toy. No ulterior motives on their part. Simple pleasures, conscious thoughts. And don't you both deserve that beautiful time?
Oh, I love
Doesn't
that.
that create just a beautiful image? I write these cool things, but then I almost never like read them to anyone else, so they stay in my brain. So I really wanted to share that.
World, I love this. Yeah, that was beautiful. Say it again.
Yeah. That they want, their goals are simple pleasures in our minds, conscious thoughts, and don't we all deserve that beautiful time?
Yeah, and I love that. She reminds me to go to that. It's like, just be in this beautiful time.
Zen.
Exactly, Zen.
Yeah. So that brings me to the question, what do we do to improve our communication with them? With that being said, all that above, what do? We practice direct, honest, and simple communications. The first thing that comes to mind when I think of that is how our random thoughts, all those random thoughts that they're seeing go through our minds and their confusion, that really messes with their heads, because it's, I'm sure it must seem like a jumble to them, like another language that they just don't comprehend, right?
Yeah.
So for example, they might not understand if you don't want them jumping up on the couch, you want them to stay off the furniture. Some people live that way. I don't, but I know some people do.
Well, we do. We have being on the
yes,
couch.
yes. And that's not a judgment thing. I'm just saying that is a thing. So when you're instructing your pet, no, you can't get on the couch. And then you have to leave the room for a minute. When you're preparing to leave the room, are you thinking, oh, I bet the minute my back is turned, they're going to jump up on that couch? What's that picture show them in your head?
To jump up on the couch.
So when you leave, they say, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to jump up on the couch.
I love it. This is all the stuff we teach in the Joy Shop. Yeah.
Yes. And I'm always saying that to you, how similar what I'm doing with animal communication correlates to what I've learned with you all these years.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's images created in your mind. So you have to be careful what you're thinking and saying. So another thing that confuses them is you'll say, don't jump up on me, sit down, no jumping, sit down. And that's all very clear. And then you're feeling guilty because you just reprimanded the sweet little thing, and you pat them or you pick them up and cuddle them. That's a mixed message to them.
Yeah.
Right. We have to follow through a little more clearly, because again, that tags on something that is against what our first thought was. And they're going, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to tell me here?
And I could see all this stuff applies with raising kids or
Absolutely.
in our
Yes.
own life, in our own inner dialogue.
Yes. 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 Now here's an interesting one. I wrote, be careful when choosing nicknames or tell a story about your pet. It can become defining of their behavior, especially a negative story about their past. For example, animals who have been rescued. You tend to think, oh, the poor deer, you never, ever want to go to that place.
Yeah, just like we don't want to do that in our own lives, make us.
Exactly.
I love
Exactly.
that.
And labels, calling them an abused, rescued animal, as opposed to someone who you've adopted into your family.
Mm.
Right?
Yeah,
And they,
the perspective.
yes, and they feel it, and those labels attached to them, and they think that defines them. Believe it or not, it does.
Oh, I'm sure. It makes me think of a neighbor who, oh, my poor little dog, and it was just the most ill-mannered and neurotic, and because she thought of it that way.
Yes, yes. So if you think of it the way you want it, excuse me, that often changes everything. Yeah. So I then wrote in here, oh, when you're choosing a name, that's another little thing. When you're choosing a name, you want the name to reflect the personality of the animal you want, not killer. If you want a dog that you can trust with your children, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to name it Sammy or Happy, or a name that reflects the lifestyle that you wish for them.
Yeah.
Because that also brings along with it images and feelings that they sense, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that was one little bit. I almost missed that one. Then I wrote, you've undoubtedly, my tongue is all tied today, heard Sharon say, change your story, change your life.
Mm-hmm.
Same way with animals. You
Yeah.
change the story to a positive one, and you can completely change their entire life. It's absolutely amazing. I said, just turn the past loose, let it go. Let it go. It no longer serves you.
As they grow and they're puppies, I will kind of lock her in sometimes, I think, with behaviors, because I'm not seeing that bigger picture.
Right.
Kind of expecting those negative behaviors, or what I call is negative.
Right, right. So there's a saying by a person, T. Harv Eker, that I'm aware of. I don't think of it often, but the concept is very good. He said, how you do anything is how you do everything. And I think that also goes if you replace the word do with say. So teaching yourself to not say something is how you would say everything.
Yeah, I love that just showing up and being totally present, and just kind of getting into the fun and the pleasure of playing with my dog.
Mm-hmm.
If I showed up for every activity like that, wow,
right,
changing. So
right. Yeah, and the mixed messages with them are huge. Tone of voice is big. They pick up on tone of voice. They also know insincerity by the way you speak. Have you ever known someone who they're always excited about something, but yet they never follow through?
Yeah, and you can feel it in that energy too.
Yes, and you sort of mentally tune them out.
Yeah, because where it's like, oh, and they're so excited, and you can feel they don't have that follow through energy too. They're just, it's like they're high on the excitement.
Right. And dogs, they know this. They feel it, they see it. So we need to be clear and honest with our pets, because our words carry with them mental images and feelings. All the things I said just boil down to that.
Yeah, that makes sense. And well, and I know what you mean, the the energy attached to the words,
Mhm,
and what
mhm.
can have that
Yeah,
attachment.
yeah. So that was my tip number 2.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Yeah, and it's really helped me to kind of build on what I'm doing and to take it further, to kind of open up and see where am I kind of locking her in her behaviors. And yeah, I love it. So that's all your tips?
That's it. That was
Okay.
pretty simple.
Well, since we don't have another guest, and remember, you guys come to these live and you get to have the benefit of like a mini reading. But that
Or
would,
you can ask me questions about your situation.
oh, I love that. So maybe you can tap into, I know you usually like to kind of tap in ahead of time, but you thought it might be fun to do a cold reading.
I
So
can I can sure try.
let's just stimulate that possibility, because I know you can do it. And go ahead right now and just tap into patches and
Okay, give me just a few seconds to feel her. I think she's wanting to know why she can't be in there right now. She said, "What the heck? They're talking about me. I want to be in there."
yeah, she could be right now sitting quietly outside the door.
Yeah, I'm picturing her sitting outside, right outside your back door, and she's sort of just watching the world, observing, waiting for something to fly by and catch her attention, because I know she likes to see quick movements and she likes to find them and chase them, even if it's only in her mind. She loves the chase.
Yep, she does. And we just before we got on here, I did a stick play so that she can enjoy that.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. So she's had her fun for a little bit. Yeah, she seems very content. Um, she seems very happy with life right now. I'm not picking up anything big.
Nice.
I really feel like you nurture her well. Does that make sense? You are very in tune with her needs, and she feels very comfortable with that her needs are met. And other than the occasional chasing of elk or deer, that things go pretty well.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm continuing to keep her on the leash for now. I haven't, go ahead.
I'm just mentally going through her body. I'm listening. I can kind of do two levels at once. I'm
Mhm.
just going through, I'm thinking of her body, and I enter, as I usually do, I enter through the head, and I'm thinking how she feels to me. She feels very relaxed. Yeah, I'm picking up nothing from her. She seems very neutral, very peaceful. I can't, I even checked her stomach, because I know sometimes she eats things that maybe she shouldn't, but she feels, um, I did pick up a little gas in there, but that's just something normal. Nothing unusual. Yeah, she just wants to be in the house with you right now. That's what I'm getting.
Well, I think this was a nice, beautiful little episode. And
Yeah.
if, yeah, that we can wrap it up here.
Yes, and I'll conjure up my next tip number 3 in the next week or so and send you my notes again.
Yeah, and what we're going to do, you guys, is on my Spence and Hypnosis YouTube channel, I have a playlist just for Lorraine. So I've started that. And so it'll be found in the Joyful Abundance Momentum group. But you can also, if it's like, oh, I just want to see Lorraine's series, then you can click on that playlist and you can
And
watch. Those are going to be public.
I welcome, if any of people are viewing this later, if they have questions, they can contact me. at Lorraine Bollinger at gmail.com, or through your, I'm guessing they could send you a question to relay to
Yeah,
me if
don't
necessary.
send me the question, just ask it in our Momentum Facebook group.
Oh, there we go. There we go. That's a better way.
A comment or a question, you can put it under the live stream, and we're going to post the replay in the Facebook group, and you can ask it there.
Yes, and that could give us some ideas for future, what's on your mind.
Yeah.
Are there some needs that we could address?
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, if somebody's kind of a problem behavior, or they're unclear on something they want to do to support their animal,
or if they feel they want a reading, they can contact me too.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening to the replay or watching it live in the Facebook group. We don't have, I tried to look on the Facebook and the live stream didn't come up for me. So I think I just refresh it. No, I think it's going. But yeah, so let's find
on my computer. It says live on Facebook up there in the corner. Oh, now it's off. There you go.
So wave goodbye.
Bye, everyone.